talking about the significance of the Juneteenth celebration. What you got, Dream?
Okay, the question I would ask is, why is Juneteenth celebrated? It symbolized the end of slavery. Juneteenth has come to symbolize that for many African Americans, that the 4th of July symbolized for all American freedom. It served as a historical milestone, reminding America of the triumph over human spirit, over the cruelty of slavery. It honored those African American ancestors who survived the inhuman institution of bondage, as well as demonstrating pride in the marvelous legacy of resistance and preservation they left us. So we definitely want to be good people, show our willingness to overcome some of the worst atrocity that was happening to any people, and our struggle is only unique in the essence that it lasted so long. But as I said a few minutes ago, you got people right now putting their life on the line because they want the freedom that only a free-minded person would want for themselves. In Islam, we say is that oppression is worse than slaughter. So you have the God-given right to free yourself and take advantage of the freedom once you get it.
Okay, let's go now. Since we're talking about, we have in the studio with us, we have Sister Connie Burnett, longtime community activist. We have Kwamina Denizulu, poet and griot. We'll talk about the significance of the Juneteenth celebration. The call-in number here is 813-251-9867, 813-251-WTMP. Call in with your questions or comments for our panel. We talk about Juneteenth. It's about 9:30 now. The truth of the matter is, if you're going to talk about Juneteenth and celebrate Juneteenth, it's represent freedom. Okay, so if we talk about freedom, then we have to look at what level have this so-called freedom benefited us. And so when you start talking about that, then you want to know why isn't it that now, after 438 years, we're not exercising the kind of freedom that people that haven't been in America as long as us are not exercising. The freedom to educate your children, the freedom to have communities and support each other. What is it going to take for us to get to this level of self-autonomy?
Brother, you know, when we talk about freedom, sometimes I believe we get it kind of confused because we have some movement. We don't have to, you know, ask permission in some cases to go here and there. But as soon as the proclamation was signed, we had the Black Codes enacted. From the Black Codes, we had the Jim Crowism. From the Jim Crows to what we have now, the public policy. So when I talk about Juneteenth, I ain't talking about no absolute freedom. We don't have no absolute freedom. No. We still have people making decisions on about who gonna eat, who can have medical attention, what school people can go to, who can get business loans. We don't have absolute freedom as African people. And so that's why when we are celebrating the Juneteenth, we have to talk about a continual need to struggle. And that's why we have this disconnect inside our community. Because we have a few minority in our community because they was able to benefit from the struggle, that somehow everything is okay. Then we have another group, the majority, that recognize that we still catching hell. And so this contradiction inside the black community is what keep us from moving forward, from organizing ourselves in a way in which we can reach that level of freedom, independence, success that we see other minority people receiving.
All right. Kwamina, I want you to get prepared to do me a nice piece of poetry. I don't know what you got. You got something for me that you can do now?
Yeah, I've got something, you know, a couple of pieces I wrote for Juneteenth.
Okay. Why don't we hear one out here in the drink?
Nothing as epic as my good brother.
No, that's okay. Go ahead and put it together. What you got?
We've got here. In 1619, we arrived on these continental shores, unlike the seaworthy explorers before us, in peace and trade, but as commodity, in bondage, a product of goods and services, enslaved. Can you imagine the incomprehension, the brutal and inhumane condition? First fear, then to escape, then finally submission. and then for 12 generations capitulated habitation. For 12 generations, hopelessness and then determination. For 12 generations, dare to dream of liberation and then manifest destiny, jubilee. Oh, what a celebration. The Emancipation Proclamation signed in 1863 released 12 generations repressed with no more memory of themselves into a wilderness of hostile environments. Persecuted for another 7 generations. Resistance with no direction, discrimination, another 7 generations with no alternative destination. Fast forward, relentless 19 generations hence with no resemblance to our Genesis, to our villages, to the tattered remnants of our indigenous images. Still praying for deliverance while pretending to live the experience. Oblivious worshiping idols not in our own image. Trying to ilk out a meager existence and then call it independence.
All right. Provenance in the Zulu. That was great. That was hit it right on the head. Hakeem the Dream.
Well, a lot of cities, I like to acknowledge that a lot of cities throughout America, matter of fact, the latest count was 200 cities in the United States have some form of celebration and commemoration of the Juneteenth. And what I like to say is that freedom, every human being God created with freedom. Freedom, unless you suppress it with ignorance, with bad habits, with laziness, but there's no way that we can want to hold back and say our condition is like this is because of that. Our condition is like this because we desire for it to be like that, and then we desire for it not to be like that, and it becomes an individual thing. When the people was liberated from slavery, they had no control over their own personal life. They was property of someone else. Now, today, we have to acknowledge the fact that a lot of our problem is self-inflicted. When you look at the newspaper this week, the tragedy of black on black crime, the murder, the senseless killing, the home invasion, the drugs addiction, you know, these things, okay, if you want to point the finger, then like Michael Jackson said, look at the man in the mirror. So I like for people to understand that Juneteenth, in retrospect to what the people went through, and associate the lack of hope or progress today, I think it's a misfortune, man, for those people that was back then. There's no way the two could be connected, coincide with each other, because they had nothing at all independent. Matter of fact, slavery was over for 2 years before they knew it. So I would just like to air this out. Okay. And I'd like to hear what others think. This is what Hakeem.
All right, come on, Connie. I know you will challenge Hakeem on that one. I see you over there. You itching over there, Connie. She want to jump through. Get him, Connie.
Well, brother, you know, you under some serious disillusion that the pain that we are feeling now is self-induced. When young people can't see a future for themselves, as the slaves couldn't see a future for themselves because of a white master, it is the same thing that we see now. We will have policymakers that will spend a whole ton of money in the incarceration of our young people, as opposed to that same money being put forth for positive initiative of our young people. You don't see that. You don't see our communities as much as our labor has produced in America. We don't see our labor benefiting us. Our tax dollars don't even benefit us. We can't even visit a city park in this city right now, without the strong hand of law enforcement being on our back in this community. So I don't know what you're talking about, Hakeem.
All right, let's go to the phone line. Welcome to
I got to come back.
All right,
welcome to the phone line. I'm coming back.
Welcome to Honest
Opinion. You're on some serious drugs.
Welcome to Honest Opinion, keeping it real, making it happen.
Assalamu alaikum, my Muslim brother, to my beautiful sister, Sister Fergie, Mr. Brother Stokely, brother, good morning.
Assalamu alaikum.
Well, I'm off the sanitation. Up there off the sanitation. I can see more than some of the other side. So we're talking about freedom. I just want to put this in the atmosphere, the silent thing, which should be talking on radio. Let our people know that a nation move on its stomach and not on its feet. So we're not not free until we be able to feed ourselves. Land is the basis of all freedom. As long as that our stomach is still enslaved, we have to get our food from the slaves after they cure, we are still in slavery. So we can talk all the history going to us, but as a people, we are free until we get land, and land is the basis of all freedom, and to be able to see yourself. Thanks for letting me share. I've enjoyed the show. I'm a long time listener.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you, Colin.
All right, let me move the conversation along a little, what I want to talk about seriously. And let's get on the serious tone here. I know we have been. But what I see is that there have never been an effort. Sherzad Ali wrote a book called Are You Still a Slave? And it was like a questionnaire to ask him, are you still a slave? But we're still suffering from a slave mentality.
Yes, we are.
You know, it is a shameful God when you have African Americans in business in our community that can't get the support of their own people. This comes from slavery because we never thought that nothing we could do would always be good enough for us. So, how, Kwame, I'm going to you, how can we seriously break this psychological chains of slavery that is alive and well in 2011?
It's called the Stockholm Syndrome. If someone is kidnapped and kept by their captors for any length of period of time and force-fed only the information from their captors, force-fed only the food from their captors, treated badly then treated kindly by their captors, you know, all of the psychological makeup of driving someone out of their righteous mind. It's called the Stockholm Syndrome. If you've been kidnapped, in fact, they talked that Patty Hearst had the Stockholm. That's the defense they used when they said that she wasn't responsible for what she did with her captors after being kidnapped. Well, imagine that on a wide scale, and like I said, for 12 generations, do 20 years times 12.
You got it.
And you got it. The one thing we said was that the sisters and brothers at the end of slavery walked away with no land. How can you be free to go where with no money, no land, no legacy, no
All right, let me go to Hakeem the Dream here, Channel. Go ahead, Hakeem.
Let's get the caller first, then we'll come back.
All right, welcome to Honest Opinion, keeping it real, making it happen. What say you?
Thank you, my call, gentlemen. What do you guys say to the idea of us training preschool kids to think differently from this day forward, and sort of counting off the 20, the 30, the 40-year-olds, and even 18-year-olds to say that they have to take the path that has been set based upon this so-called Willie Lynch syndrome that we're living through, and just start teaching these preschoolers a better way and a different way of living within our community.
Okay, Hakeem the Dream.
Well, I agree with the caller. Any right-minded people would stop making excuses and complaining, because life itself is a continued struggle, a continuation of betterment. And so what I'm saying is that if things are all right with African Americans, no, it's not. If things could get better in years to come, sure they can. But they have to start with the thought that we're not pleased with what's going on now. Then what could we do to change? So nobody can stop that. Right now, with the people sitting in this radio station right now, whatever desire we want to do, whatever you want to do, nothing can stop us or hinder us. There's no law, there's no rules that say that, hey, this cannot be done. And if it is, then we can change it. They had this week at the county center talking about redistricting. And to my surprise, with what I was told, the attendance was in great numbers. So the people actually came out and voiced their opinion. So some good gonna come from that. But what happened if there wasn't nobody in attendance? Then the people got a right to make whatever decision they want to make.
All right, let's go to